Two people can invest the same dollar amount in the same stock market, and one ends up with $3 million more, not because they were smarter, but because they understood compounding earlier. Compounding doesn't reward intelligence. It rewards time, patience, and behavior. And today, I'm not going to explain compounding the way textbooks do. I'm going to show you how the math of wealth quietly works behind the scenes, why most people never experience it, why the stock market feels rigged, and how small financial decisions today quietly decide whether your future portfolio works for you or against you. If you're committed to transforming your future, hit that subscribe button. We're here to provide the tools and motivation you need to make it happen. Let's dive in. 1. Compounding isn't growth, it's acceleration. That mental image is wrong, and that misunderstanding costs people millions. Compounding behaves like gravity. At first, nothing seems to happen. Your portfolio feels stagnant. Your ETFs crawl. Your index funds barely move. And this is exactly where most people quit. The mathematics of compounding is exponential, not linear. In the early years, your money grows so slowly that your brain labels it pointless. But after enough time, the same growth rate turns violent in a good way. A $10,000 investment growing at 10% annually becomes about $26,000 after 10 years. Nothing impressive. But after 30 years, that same investment becomes over $174,000 without adding another dollar. If you feel like compounding isn't working for you yet, that discomfort is proof you're still early. Time beats talent every single time. Here's a truth that hurts the ego. Compounding doesn't care how smart you are. The stock market has rewarded boring investors more than brilliant ones for decades. People with average income, simple index funds, and basic asset allocation often outperform high IQ traders chasing alpha. Why? Because time multiplies outcomes far more aggressively than skill. Consider this comparison. Investor A invests $500 per month from age 25 to 35, then stops completely. Investor B waits, then invests $500 per month from age 35 to 65. Investor A invests for only 10 years. Investor B invests for 30 years. Yet Investor A ends up with more money. This isn't motivation, it's mathematics. Most people delay investing because they believe they'll do it properly later when income increases. But compounding punishes delay brutally. Every year you wait doesn't just cost money, it destroys exponential layers of growth. Number 3. The real enemy of compounding is interruptions. Compounding breaks for one reason only: interruptions. The math assumes consistency. But human behavior doesn't. People stop investing during bear markets. They pause SIPs during fear. They sell stocks during volatility. They chase trends after market corrections. Every interruption resets momentum. A portfolio growing at 12% annually doesn't just lose returns when you stop. It loses future acceleration. That's the hidden cost most people never calculate. Imagine pushing a heavy flywheel. Each push builds momentum. But if you stop pushing every few seconds, the wheel never spins fast enough to work for you. The stock market rewards investors who keep pushing during boredom, fear, and uncertainty. This is why retirement portfolios built through automated investing outperform emotionally managed ones. The mistake people make is trying to protect themselves from short-term discomfort instead of protecting long-term compounding. A concept from the algebra of wealth explains this brutally well. Success comes from removing decisions, not making better ones. If you've ever felt your progress collapse after one bad market year, the next section explains how losses secretly accelerate compounding, if you understand the math. Number 4. Losses don't kill compounding. Panic does. Most people believe losses destroy wealth. That belief keeps them poor. Compounding doesn't break during downturns. It breaks when investors panic. Mathematically, downturns increase future returns because you buy more equity at lower prices. This is how wealth transfers from emotional investors to disciplined ones. During the 2008 financial crisis, investors who continued buying index funds saw double-digit annualized returns over the following decade. Those who sold locked in losses permanently. The mistake most people make is viewing volatility as danger instead of opportunity. They measure risk emotionally instead of mathematically. What actually works is reframing volatility as the price of admission for capital appreciation. No volatility, no compounding, no discomfort, no exponential growth. This is why dividend reinvestment plans, DRIPs, are so powerful. Dividends buy more shares during downturns automatically, accelerating compounding when fear is highest. Number 5. Your savings rate matters more than your salary. Compounding amplifies whatever you feed it. That includes habits. A high income with low savings compounds nothing. A moderate income with a high savings rate compounds aggressively. Someone saving $1,000 per month at 8% annual returns builds more net worth than someone earning double, but saving inconsistently. Most people focus on earning more money instead of controlling cash flow. So lifestyle inflation quietly eats future wealth. What works instead is treating savings like a non-negotiable expense. Before rent, before entertainment, before upgrades. This is how high net worth individuals think. They don't ask, "Can I afford this?" They ask, "What does this cost my future portfolio?" Once you see money as future equity instead of present pleasure, compounding accelerates psychologically. And this leads directly to the most misunderstood part of compounding, how psychology multiplies or destroys the math. Number 6. Compounding is a psychological game disguised as math. On paper, compounding looks easy. In real life, it's brutally difficult, because the real opponent isn't the market, it's your own psychology. The math of compound interest never changes, but human behavior does. People panic during market volatility, overreact to headlines, and constantly question their long-term investing strategy. They check their stock portfolio daily, react emotionally to short-term losses, and unknowingly sabotage years of potential equity growth. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most investors don't fail because they picked the wrong stocks or ETFs. They fail because they couldn't sit still. Studies in behavioral finance repeatedly show that the average investor underperforms the market by several percentage points every year, not because of poor intelligence, but because of emotional decisions made at the worst possible times. A powerful idea discussed in the psychology of money is that financial success is less about what you know and more about how you behave when uncertainty shows up. The market constantly tests patience before it rewards it. Number 7. Compounding doesn't just create wealth, it creates control. Most people think compounding is about becoming rich. In reality, it's about becoming free. The ultimate output of compounding isn't a large net worth, it's optionality. When your investment portfolio generates passive income through dividends, capital appreciation, and long-term equity growth, money stops being a daily stress factor. Decisions stop revolving around survival and start revolving around choice. This is why high net worth individuals obsess over retirement portfolios, asset allocation, and cash flow producing assets instead of flashy income spikes. They understand that a portfolio growing quietly at 8–10% annually can eventually replace active labor. That's when time becomes negotiable. Wealth isn't about having more money than others. It's about needing less from money. Compounding reduces dependency. It lowers urgency. It gives you leverage over your own life. If you stay consistent long enough, your portfolio eventually reaches a point where market volatility matters less, daily expenses feel lighter, and financial decisions stop feeling emotional. That's the moment compounding reveals its real power, and it leads directly to the transformation most people never experience. Number 8. Compounding rewards identity, not just actions. This is the part of compounding no one explains, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Compounding doesn't just multiply money, it multiplies who you believe you are. People who benefit from compounding long-term don't wake up every day feeling motivated. They adopt an identity early. I'm someone who invests. I'm someone who thinks long-term. I'm someone who doesn't touch money meant for my future. That identity quietly shapes decisions for decades. But when investing becomes part of your identity, behavior stabilizes. You don't ask whether you should invest this month. It's automatic. You don't panic during market corrections. You expect them. You don't envy short-term wins. You trust your long-term trajectory. People who frame investing as who they are rather than what they do are dramatically more likely to stay invested through market volatility, economic downturns, and personal income fluctuations. That staying power alone can add hundreds of thousands of dollars to a lifetime portfolio. Compounding isn't magic, it's not luck, and it's definitely not fast. It's mathematics combined with emotional discipline over time. If you truly understand how compounding works, you stop chasing shortcuts. You stop reacting to noise. You stop expecting immediate results. Instead, you build a system that rewards patience, consistency, and long-term thinking. Comment, "I'm building silently," if you're on the wealth path no one sees yet. I believe that together, we can build a better, wealthier future. If this inspires you, like it, share with your closed ones so they can benefit from it too, and subscribe to continue this journey with me. Now, if you really want to level up, don't miss this next video. Let's continue there.